Okay, good morning everyone. So in the last class we had discussed about the topic certain developments that leads to the formulation of quantum mechanical model, right? So Mehrin, can you tell me which are the two developments that leads to the formulation of quantum mechanical model of an atom?
Yes, ma'am. Dual behavior of matter and Heisenberg's uncertainty principle.
Very good. Dual behavior of matter, and the second one is Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. So what's the equation suggested by de Broglie to relate the particle and wave nature of this matter? Devika?
Ma'am, wavelength is equal to h by p.
Yeah. Lambda is equal to h by p. What is this p? John? John Jose?
mv
What is this p? That's the equation, right?
momentum.
Yeah. P stands for momentum. And what's the equation to find out momentum, Tushar?
Mass into velocity.
Very good. It is mass into velocity. Okay, mv. P stands for linear momentum, and the equation to find out this momentum, mass into velocity. So lambda is equal to h by p. That's the equation, relates both particle and wave nature. Okay. Then what about this h, Emmeline? H.
Ma'am, Planck's constant.
Planck's constant. Lakshmi, can you tell me the value of this Planck's constant?
6.62 into 10 raised to negative 34.
Yeah, 6.62 into 10 raised to minus 34 joule per second. Okay. Then Adulya, can you please state Heisenberg's uncertainty principle?
It is impossible to determine simultaneously the exact position and exact momentum or velocity of an electron.
Yes. Then what's the mathematical equation of this Heisenberg's uncertainty principle? Devi Krishna?
Ma'am, I was absent in the last class.
Okay. Jeez, can you tell me mathematical equation?
H1.
Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. That relates change in position, change in momentum, etc. Yes. Tom Sinton, can you tell me?
Delta x into delta p equal to greater than or equal to h by 4 pi.
Okay, delta x into delta p greater than or equal to h by 4 pi. That's the mathematical equation. Then what about the Schrodinger equation of this quantum mechanical model of an atom? Eva?
Ma'am, it's H with the cap.
Psi. Okay, it's psi.
No, ma'am, the thing on top of H. What is that called?
Yeah, we are just reading this equation as H psi. And H is known as Hamiltonian operator. Yes.
Okay, ma'am. So H psi is equal to E psi.
Yeah, that's the equation. Then we are moving to the quantum mechanical model of an atom. Okay. So this is the equation, right? H psi is equal to E psi. And this one, H with a cap, that is known as Hamiltonian operator. Okay. Hamiltonian operator, otherwise known as energy operator. It's a form of mathematical operation. Okay. Just need to learn this equation. That's enough. There are no certain problems based on this. So the Schrodinger equation, we will write this short form of this wave equation, that is H cap, that is Hamiltonian operator, H psi, psi for wave function. Psi stands for wave function. And I told you in the last class, this wave function, it shows the probability of electron in the atomic orbital. Okay, the wave function psi shows the probability of electron in atomic orbital. Then E stands for energy. That's in eigenvalues. Then the wave function psi, it's a solution of the Schrodinger equation and describes the behavior of an electron in a region of space called the atomic orbital. The same point here, wave function shows the probability of electron in atomic orbital. Then we can find energy values that are associated with particular wave functions. If we know the wave function, that means using this wave function, we can able to find out the energy values. Okay, we can able to find out different energy values. And one more thing, in the case of quantum mechanics, we have learned about quantum mechanics, right? It's a branch of science and deals with the study of dual behavior of matter, right? Yeah. Then you have to note one more point there. It's always describes about microscopic objects. Okay. It always explains or describes about microscopic objects. Quantum mechanics related to microscopic objects that have both wave-like and particle-like properties. Microscopic objects which possess both particle and wave-like properties. And solution of this equation gives both the values of psi and energy, E. So I'm repeating this equation one more time. It is H psi equal to E psi. This is the short wave equation by Schrodinger. Yeah, it is not a Schrodinger wave equation, but it is in the short form. Okay, there is a big equation actually. And in order to short this equation, we are using this Hamiltonian operator. Okay, Hamiltonian operator. And this H stands for Hamiltonian operator. It's an energy operator. It's a mathematical form of operator. Then this E stands for energy. That's in eigenvalues. Then psi stands for wave function. This wave function psi, it shows the probability of electron in atomic orbital. Okay. Then from using this equation, we can able to find solutions for both wave function and energy. Have you completed this slide, children? Yes, right? Okay, then we are moving to the next one. That is quantum mechanical model of atom. And I told you the solutions of wave equation gives possible energy levels the electrons can occupy. Okay, the solutions of this wave equation, that means H psi equal to E psi, that gives the possible energy levels, that the probability of electron in the atomic orbital. What do these electrons occupy in the orbital? So solutions of this wave equation, it gives the possible energy levels the electron can occupy. And the quantized energy states and the corresponding wave functions. Okay, there are different energy states there. So this quantized energy states and corresponding wave functions, they are characterized by 3 quantum numbers. It's very important. Okay, the quantized energy states and their corresponding wave functions are characterized by 3 quantum numbers. Okay, 3 quantum numbers. First one is known as principal quantum number. Principal quantum number. And it is represented by small letter n. Principal quantum number, small letter n. And the second one is known as azimuthal quantum number. Okay, azimuthal quantum number. Azimuthal quantum number. Its name is very strange, right? Azimuthal quantum number. And here the symbol, that is small letter L. Okay, small letter L. Here it is small letter n, and here it is small letter L. Then the third one is magnetic quantum number. Magnetic quantum number. It is small letter m with L as subscript. So there are 3 different types of quantum numbers or quantized. They relates the quantized energy states and their corresponding wave function. This quantum numbers that relates the quantized energy states and their corresponding wave functions. Principal quantum number, that is n. Then second one, azimuthal quantum number, that is L. Then magnetic quantum number, that is ML. Okay, M, L. L you have to write as subscript. So these three quantum numbers that gives proper information about the quantized energy states and corresponding wave functions. Jewel, can you tell me which are the three types of quantum numbers that relates energy states and their wave functions?
Principal quantum number, which is
Yeah.
N.
Hmm.
Azimuthal quantum number, which is L.
Yes.
Magnetic quantum number, which is ML.
Yes. This is clear, children? Gaia, can you please read this slide?
Yes, ma'am. The solutions of wave equation gives the possible energy levels the electron can occupy. The quantized energy states and corresponding wave functions are characterized by three quantum numbers.
Okay.
Principal quantum number represented as N, azimuthal quantum number as L, and magnetic quantum number as ML.
ML. Then we are moving to the first one, that is principal quantum number. Okay, leave this one. Is principal quantum number. First one is known as principal quantum number. It is represented as small letter n. Small letter n. And this quantum number determines the size and energy of the orbital. Size and energy of the orbital. Size and energy of the orbital. And it also identifies the shell. We know that around the nucleus there are different types of energy levels or energy shells or orbits, right? Or orbitals. First energy level, second energy level, third energy level, like that. So this principal quantum number n, that is equal to their energy levels or energy shells. So we can able to identify the shell. So this principal quantum number, it will provide three factors. First one is size. Okay, size, then energy, size of the orbital, energy of the orbital, and the third one, it also identifies in which shell this electron belongs to. Size, energy, and the shell. Clear? Size, energy, and shell. With the increase in the value of n, the number of allowed orbitals increases. So when the value of n increases, the number of allowed orbitals also increases. Okay? And the size also same. Size of an orbital also increases with increase of n. If n value is increased, the size of an orbital also increased. If n equal to 1, it's a small one. N equal to 2, it's large one compared to n equal to 1. Like that. Look at the figure here. Here it is n equal to 1. So, the size of this shell, like this, right? Then n equal to 2, the size of this orbital again increases. Then n equal to 3, it again increases. Okay? So that's the point. With the increase in the value of n, the number of allowed orbitals increases and the size of an orbital also increases with increase of n. Okay? So n equal to 3, that means 3 shells are there or 3 energy levels are there. So size will automatically increases with the increase of n values. Then this number of orbitals that can be calculated by this equation n square. Number of orbitals. Number of orbitals that is equal to n square. N equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. That is non-zero integer. 0 is not included. Starting from 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. And in the beginning I told you, when you know the principal quantum number, we can able to identify the shell. So this is the table that helps to identify which shell that orbital belongs to. Okay. When the value of n equal to 1, it is K shell. You have learned about different types of shells, right? Do you remember? K, L, M, N, like that. So if the value of n equal to 1, it is K shell. Okay, value of n equal to 1, it is K shell. Then value of n equal to 2, it is L shell. Then value of n equal to 3, M. 4 stands for N, like that. So around the nucleus, there are different types of orbitals or energy levels or energy shells. We can able to find out this energy level or shell from this principal quantum number N. If the N value is 1, it stands for K shell. Then N value is 2, it stands for L shell, like that. Okay. So I'm repeating this principal quantum number. It can able to provide the size and energy of the orbital, along with it identifies the shells also. Okay. And with the increase of N value, the size of this orbital increases and the number of allowed orbitals also increases. This is clear, children? Any doubt here? Anne Mary, can you please read the slide?
Orbital and quantum numbers.
Yeah.
Principal quantum number. This quantum number determines the size and energy of the orbital. It also identifies the shell. The increase in the value of n, the number of allowed orbitals increases. Size of an orbital also increases with the increase of n.
Yes.
The number of orbitals equal to n square, where n equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Non-zero details.
Okay. Then Devi Krishna, can you please read this table? N value and shell designation.
Value of n 1, then the value of the shell designation would be K.
Yeah.
When the value of n will be 2, the cell designation will be L. And when it is 3, cell designation will be M. And 4, it will be N.
Yes. This is clear, children. So you have to remember the point. Principal quantum number can able to provide the size, energy of the orbital. Then it also identifies the shell. Okay. These 3 details are obtained from this principal quantum number. Okay, then we are moving to the next one. Have you completed the slide, all of you?
Yes.
Yes. So the second one is azimuthal quantum number. Okay, azimuthal quantum number. And it is represented as small letter L. Small letter L. Azimuthal quantum number, it is small letter L. This azimuthal quantum number, it is also known as orbital angular momentum. Okay, orbital angular momentum. Orbital angular momentum or subsidiary quantum number. Subsidiary quantum number. Orbital angular momentum or subsidiary quantum number are other names of azimuthal quantum number. Okay. So this is the second one. This quantum number defines the 3-dimensional shape of the orbital. This quantum number defines the 3-dimensional shape of the orbital. Okay. Principal quantum number provides the size and energy of the shell. Here this azimuthal quantum number, it defines the 3-dimensional shape of the orbital. 3-dimensional shape of the orbital. Okay. Then for a given value of n, okay, n starts from 1 to, that means integer values, right? Non-zero integer values. That's for n. Here L can have values ranging from 0 to n minus 1. 0 to n minus 1. If n starts from 1 to n, this L starts from 0 to n minus 1. That's the range of azimuthal quantum number, from 0 to n minus 1. So the possible values of L 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. up to n minus 1. Clear? Yes, azimuthal quantum number, it provides the information about the three-dimensional shape of this orbital and the values of this L. It starts from 0 to n minus 1. And this quantum number also tells us about the number of subshells or sublevels in a given shell. Okay, it also provide the information about the number of subshells or sublevels in a given subshell. Okay, before that, let me ask you, children, have you learned about the subshells? Subshells?
No, ma'am.
No, right? Okay. You have learned about shells, right? Yes. Then we can discuss about the subshells. Then we are moving to this topic again, okay? So different shells are K, L, M, N, etc. We are usually using this for shells. Okay, there are different subshells for each shell. Subshells, and they are represented as small letter S, P, D, F, etc. Okay, there are different shells. They are capital letter K, L, M, N, etc. And different subshells there S, P, D, F, etc. We are usually using till F. Okay, and this K shell contains only one subshell, that is S. The next one, L shell, contains two subshells, S and T. Okay. Then this M shell contains three subshells, that is S, P, D. Then the last one, N shell, contains four subshells, S, P, D, F. Okay, you have to remember this point. There are different types of shells. They are designated as K, L, M, N, etc. Then the subshells, they are small letter S, P, D, F, etc. And each shell has their own subshells. Okay, each shell has their own subshells. In the case of K shell, it has a subshell S, small letter S. Then the L shell, there are two subshells, S and P. Then M shell, there are three subshells, S, P, D. Then N shell, they have four subshells, S, P, D, F. Small letter S, P, D, F. So this principal quantum number gives the information about this shell. Okay, principal quantum number gives the information about this shell. Then azimuthal quantum number gives the information about this subshell. Azimuthal quantum number. Small letter L here. Here it is small letter N. Have you completed, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So Pooja, can you tell me which are the different subshells present in the orbital?
S, P, D, F.
Yeah, S, P, D, F. Then which subshell is present in K shell, Tom? Yes. Alan Joshi? Which are the subshells present in L shell?
SP.
Yeah, SP. Then Jodi? Which are the subshells present in M shell?
SPD.
SPD. Dia? Which are the subshells present in N shell?
PDF.
S, P, D, F. Then we are again back to this azimuthal quantum number. Okay, it is otherwise known as orbital angular momentum or subsidiary quantum number. So we had discussed that this L can have values starting from 0 to n minus 1. So here we are going to find out the value of L and the notation for the subshell. Okay. If the value of L is 0, it is S subshell. Okay. If value of L it is equal to 0, it is S subshell. Then value of L that is equal to 1, it is P subshell. Then value of L that is 2, it is D subshell. Then it is 3, F subshell. Then it is 4, G subshell. Usually we are using till here. Okay, till F. So like this. Do you remember the relation between the number and the main shells? From the principal quantum number, how it is related? If it is 1, it is K shell. It is 2, M shell. It is 3, M shell. Then 4, it is N shell, right? Here, this L values that gives the information about subshell. If it is 0, it is S subshell. If it is 1, it is P subshell. If it is 2, D subshell, like that. And you have to remember one more point. It starts from 0 and only till n minus 1. If the value of n it is 4, the L value should be up to 3. N minus 1 means up to 3. If value of n is 4, the L value till 3. Okay, you have to remember that point. This is clear? Have you completed, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then there is one table that relates both principal quantum number, azimuthal quantum number, and find out the subshell and the main shell. Okay. So here the value of n that starts from 1, right? 0 is not included in this principal quantum number. So the value of n is 1. The value of L that should be n minus 1, right? N minus 1. So here the n value is 1, 1 minus 1 that is equal to 0. Isn't it? So the value of L that is equal to 0. Then 0 stands for which subshell? 0 stands for which? Yes. So here 1 yes, that's the subshell notation. In the first shell, yes, that's the subshell. Okay, that's the subshell notation. In a K shell, we learned that only one subshell is there, that is small letter S, right? So you have to represent or notation for the subshell is given as 1 S. The first shell, S is the subshell, 1 S. Okay, 1 S. Then we are moving to the next one.
Ma'am, should we copy this table?
Yes, 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 you can write this. Then the value of n that is equal to 2. N equal to 2. We have learned that L should have values n minus 1. So can you tell me which are the values for L? L equal to n minus 1. Here n equal to 2. So which are the values for L?
1.
Only 1. Then what about 0? 0 and 1, right? Starting from 0 till n minus 1. Okay. So here n equal to 2. L value should be starting from 0 to n minus 1. So there are two values, 0 and 1. So here it is 0 and 1. 0 stands for yes. And 1 stands for which subshell? It is P, right? So here 2S. That means in the second main shell, S is the subshell. That's the subshell notation. The main shell is 2 and S is the subshell. The next one is same shell here 2 and the subshell is P. So there are 2 subshells in second shell. Here it is K, L, M and N. So K have only one subshell, that is 1s. Then L have 2 subshells, that is 2s and 2p. 2s and 2p. Okay. Then the third one, value of n equal to 3. Value of n equal to 3. That means M shell. And if n equal to 3, what are the possible values for L? John Philip, can you tell me? If n equal to 3, which are the possible values for L?
SPD.
Values.
Oh, 0, 1, 2.
Very good. 0, 1, 2, right? So here also the value of L is 0, 1, 2. 0 stands for S, 1 stands for P, then 2 stands for D. SPD. So we can write the subshell notation 3S, 3P, 3D. That means there are 3 subshells in a shell. Okay, 3 subshells in a shell. Then the next one, if value of n equal to 4, which are the possible values of L? Shabarinath, can you tell me?
0, 1, 2, 3, 4.
0, 1, 2, 3. Okay. That is starting from 0 till n minus 1, right? So here there are 4 subshells 0, 1, 2, 3. And the subshell notation 4S, 4P, 4D, 4F. It is S, P, D, F. So there are 4 subshells in a shell. Okay. So using this principal quantum number, we can able to find out the shell. And using azimuthal quantum number, we can able to find out the subshell. This audio is on. Yeah. Okay. So, I'm repeating this point once again. Using principal quantum number, we can able to find out the shell. And using azimuthal quantum number, we can able to find out the subshells. Okay. And along with the shell, we can able to calculate the size and energy. We can able to determine the size and energy using principal quantum number, and using azimuthal quantum number, we can able to find out the 3-dimensional shape also. Okay, is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Any confusion, any doubt here, children? Do you want to repeat these points again?
Yes, ma'am. Can you repeat?
Which one? Which point, Mary Angelina?
Ma'am, last point.
That means in the case of principal quantum number, the first one, it gives or it provides certain information. First one is size and energy of the orbital. Okay, size and energy of the orbital. It also helps to identify the shell. Size and energy of the orbital also helps to identify the shell. So depending upon their n values, we can able to find out if it is a if their shell is K shell, L shell, M shell, etc. depending upon their values 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. And the size also increases with the increase of n values, and the number of allowed orbitals also increases with n values. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Then the next one is azimuthal quantum number. It is otherwise known as orbital angular momentum or subsidiary quantum number. And this quantum number gives the information about the 3-dimensional shape of the orbital. Okay, 3-dimensional shape of the orbital, and also provides the information about the number of subshells. Number of subshells. Okay. Then the possible values for this L, it is starting from 0 to n minus 1. 0 to n minus 1. So based on this n values and L values, we can able to find out the subshell notation and number of subshells in a shell. That's it. This is clear now? This is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then, Jewel, can you tell me which are the different types of quantum numbers?
Principal quantum number, azimuthal quantum number,
Yeah,
magnetic quantum number.
very good. Then Elaine, all of you switch on your videos.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me which letter is used to represent principal quantum number?
Ma'am, N.
Small letter N. Okay, then Navneet, what about orbital quantum number? Sorry, azimuthal quantum number, that's it. Unmute.
L.
Yeah, small letter L. Okay, then Nehal. Nehal, can you hear me? Nehal? No. Unless, can you tell me which letter is used to represent magnetic quantum number?
ML.
Very good. ML. L you should write a subscript, okay? ML. So these are the three types of quantum numbers. Principal quantum number N, azimuthal quantum number L, then magnetic quantum number, that is ML. Then which are the other names of this azimuthal quantum number, Dia? Which are the other names of this azimuthal quantum number?
Subsidiary.
Yeah, subsidiary quantum number. Then one more name. Alan Joffe, can you tell me?
Ma'am, orbital quantum number.
Orbital angular momentum. It's okay. Orbital angular momentum. Then what about the values of N? Shreya, what about the values of N? Shreya? What about the values of N? Can you hear me? Sarah, can you tell me?
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, 1 to N, right? Yes. Then what about the range of L? Wait. Meryl, what about the values of L?
0, 1, 2, 3 to N.
N minus 1, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Then what all informations you obtained from this principal quantum number? G's? Yeah.
Can you repeat?
Yeah. What all information you can obtain from principal quantum number?
A, L, M, N.
Which one?
A, L, M,
Which all informations you can obtain from principal quantum number?
Sizes and energy.
Energy, size, then shell, right? Yes. Then Abhinav, can you tell me what all informations you can obtain from azimuthal quantum number? Abhinav?
Yes, ma'am.
What all informations you can obtain from azimuthal quantum number? Yeah. Yes, dear, tell me. I can't hear you. Anjana, can you tell me? Anjana? I can't hear you. Can you hear, children?
No, ma'am.
No, okay. Malavika, Vibin, can you tell me? Malavika, children, all of you, please switch on your videos. Malavika. Buddhadev. Buddhadev.
Partner.
Yeah, what all informations you can obtain from azimuthal quantum number?
Ma'am, can you repeat the question?
What all informations you can obtain from azimuthal quantum number? Yeah, tell me.
I don't know.
Alina, can you tell me? Alina? Yes.
Quantum number defined the three-dimensional shape of
Yeah,
orbital.
three-dimensional shape. Then one more thing.
It is also known as
Subshell, right?
orbital.
Yeah, subshell. Okay, then we can discuss about magnetic quantum number in the next class. All of you, please read this portion very well. And if you have any doubt, you can ask me. Okay, children? Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, ma'am.
Then let me check your attendance. Just wait. Okay, then thank you all. See you in the next class. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
ma'am.
Bye.